I found it exceptionally hard to talk about Rezzard as he has multiple themes crammed into one ruler. Themes with very little synergy on face value. As a ruler, Rezzard allows you to pay 2 Darkness Will to mill yourself 2. There is some reason behind this, as there are some cards that can be returned to your hand from the grave by removing Resonators from your grave, including Rezzard's own Regalia. In addition to this, Rezzard's God's Art wants to remove Resonators, Persephone wants 10 cards in the grave, and Remnant exists. The thing is, if you're going down this path, you're better off using Solar Soldier and Prowler of Niflheim. At least it's on a body. Rezzard's own effect is more of a much later last-ditch effort type effect, not something you'd rely on. Of course, you could just skip the self-mill theme and leave him vanilla, though having a blank ruler is a really bad thing you should be avoiding. Rezzard flips for 2 Darkness Will and becomes a 500/500 7 Kings Vampire with Imperishable. When he flips, you can put 2 cards into your chant-standby from your hand for free. Chant-standby is a now abandoned mechanic that allowed you to pay 2 void to place a card face down into a zone called the chant-standby area. If these cards have either the keyword trigger or stealth, when their condition is met, you can cast it or summon it for nothing. This is the secondary theme of Rezzard. He also gains +200/+200 for each card in your chant-standby. The unfortunate thing is, paying 2 now for payoff later isn't that good. You literally pay for potential, not even an ignition ability. While there are good chant-standby cards, his Parents and Flame Trap from Alice 4 being the most notable examples, they're very much a different design to the earlier stealth cards. Their conditions are less restrictive, you're investing for a much bigger body than their cost as a chant-standby, and they have really good effects. Hilarious that chant-standby was dropped after their release. The thing about them is though, while they become relevant in meta as the stealth package, never with this Rezzard ruler. There were much better options than Rezzard. Rezzard's God's Art, March of Undead, costs 2 Darkness Will and 4 Void. You can remove any number of Resonators from your grave, then each player discards that many cards and banishes that many Resonators. March of Undead kind of melds both themes together. All this mill starts setting this up, but you start getting rid of your own stuff at this point too. Your stuff is safe, however, in the chant-standby area. Then when your opponent's board is cleared, trigger whatever you can. Melda, Rizza and Merlin are the good choices. If your opponent has less hand than board, Merlin can trigger off March of Undead. Then take down another Resonator and reduce the amount of grave you're removing, especially in conjunction with Melda. Lastly is his Regalia, Death Scythe the Life Reaper. Your opponent's J-Ruler loses and cannot gain both Swiftness and Imperishable, which is very useful for taking down the rest of the 7 Kings of the land and stopping a lot of nonsense with Leviathan, another Regalia that got itself banned. It can be tapped to give your J-Ruler the following until end of turn. +200/+200, if it's Rezzard, it gains most of Dracula's ability. If a Resonator dies after being dealt damage by Rezzard, you get it at the end of the turn, and you may pay 1 less for God's Arts, making Rezzard's March of Undead much more manageable than its initial 6 total cost. Finally, you can remove 3 cards from your grave to add this from your grave to your hand. It's a very, very good card. But part of me feels that, like Dracula himself, he needs precision too. You can get that off Excalibur, but it's jamming more cards in there for a niche use. Alice Origins 3 Mikage Seijiro, despite only being a Resonator, feels like the best version of this concept as it has both precision and flying. I'm having a hard time placing Rezzard. His time in the sun is long since over, and he was never relevant even with his best cards. But doing this video has made me want to go back and take another crack at Rezzard. The more I just sit here thinking, I'm going to place him just below Valentina. Valentina has a huge amount of potential, but never lived up to it, and still hasn't. Rezzard at least has the stealth package going for him. Others did it better, but he synergizes with it.